What would you think if I told you that the most profound expressions of love aren't found in grand gestures, but in the quiet, unguarded spaces of true intimacy? Psychology suggests that when a man is deeply in love, something fundamental shifts within his unconscious mind. This isn't about learning new techniques or performing for a partner. It's a deep internal transformation that ripples outward, changing his very presence. The bedroom, in this context, becomes less of a stage and more of a sanctuary, a place where the masks we wear in the outside world are finally allowed to fall away. It's here that you can observe the subtle yet powerful indicators of a man who is not just physically present, but emotionally and psychologically invested. These are not tricks or tactics. They are the natural result of a man who feels safe enough to connect not just with you, but with himself. The first and most foundational thing a man does when he's in love is demonstrate an unwavering and complete presence. Now, this might sound simple, but in our modern world of less distraction, true presence is one of the rarest gifts one person can give another. Think about it. How often are you with someone whose body is in the room, but their mind is clearly somewhere else, worrying about work, scrolling through a mental to-do list, or replaying a past conflict? You can feel that absence, can't you? It creates a subtle but persistent sense of disconnection. A man who is merely going through the motions is often trapped in his own head. His mind is occupied by performance anxiety, by ego, by the question, am I doing this right? Am I good enough? This internal chatter is a wall, an invisible barrier that prevents true connection from ever taking root. His actions, while technically proficient, can feel hollow because they are driven by a need for validation rather than a desire for union. But when a man is deeply in love, this internal noise quiets down. His focus shifts from his own performance to your shared experience. He isn't trying to prove anything anymore. Why? Because the love and trust you share have already answered the questions his ego was so desperately asking. He already feels accepted, and in that acceptance, he finds the freedom to simply be with you. His attention becomes a focused, gentle force. He notices the small things, a subtle change in your breathing, a flicker of emotion in your eyes, the slightest hesitation in your touch. He is attuned to you not because he's trying to guess what you want, but because his awareness is so grounded in the present moment that he can perceive these things naturally. This is a state that modern psychology might call mindfulness, but ancient Stoic philosophers understood it simply as living in the here and now. A man who can do this in such a vulnerable space has achieved a degree of internal mastery. He is not being controlled by his unconscious fears or societal expectations about what a man should be. Instead, he is operating from a place of conscious choice and emotional clarity. He is choosing to be fully with you, to share a moment of reality without the distortion of ego. Have you ever experienced this? To be with someone who makes you feel like you are the only person in the world? That feeling isn't an illusion. It is the direct result of a man who has set aside his own internal world to fully enter yours, and he only does that when his heart feels secure enough to be truly seen. This state of deep presence naturally leads to the second, and perhaps more profound indicator. He allows himself to be truly vulnerable. So much of masculine conditioning from a very young age is about building armor. Men are taught both overtly and subtly to be strong, to be in control, to be providers and protectors. They learn to suppress emotions that are perceived as weak, sadness, fear, uncertainty, and even overwhelming tenderness. This creates what psychologists might call a persona, a public-facing mask of competence and invulnerability. While this mask can be useful for navigating the competitive outside world, it can be incredibly lonely and isolating. It prevents a man from being seen for who he truly is, with all his complexities and imperfections. When a man is deeply in love, he has found a place where he feels safe enough to finally take that armor off. The bedroom, in this context, becomes more than a physical space. It becomes a psychological sanctuary. The intimacy you share isn't just about physical release. It's an invitation for him to release the immense pressure of upholding that persona. You might notice this most clearly in the moments after physical intimacy. For a man who is not emotionally invested, this is often a moment of retreat. The wall goes back up almost immediately. He might roll over, reach for his phone, or create distance with silence. His goal was physical, and once achieved, his protective instincts kick back in. He closes the door to his inner world because he doesn't feel safe leaving it open. But for the man who is in love, this is when the true connection deepens. He lingers. He holds you. He seeks not to escape the moment, but to exit it. This is often when he will share the parts of himself that he keeps hidden from the rest of the world. He might talk about a fear he has about his career, a doubt about a decision he has to make, or a soft, cherished memory from his past. He isn't doing this to burden you or to seek solutions. He is doing it because he trusts you with his whole self, not just the strong, confident version he presents to others. He is showing you the man behind the mask. Have you ever been with someone who lets you see their unedited self? It's a powerful experience because it's a radical act of trust. From a psychological perspective, this is him allowing you to see what Carl Jung would call his shadow, the parts of himself that he has been taught to repress or deny. It's not about revealing some dark, sinister secret. More often, it's about revealing his humanity, his fears, his dreams, his insecurities. By sharing these with you, he is saying, I trust you with all of me, not just the parts I'm proud of. This willingness to be emotionally naked is a far greater indicator of love than any physical act. It demonstrates that he sees you not as an audience for his performance of masculinity, but as a partner in his journey of becoming his true self. He feels that your love doesn't just accept his strengths, but creates a safe harbor for his vulnerabilities, and in doing so, you give him the freedom to be whole. This foundation of presence and vulnerability allows for the emergence of the third key behavior, a deep and selfless generosity. This isn't the performative generosity you might see in a man who is simply trying to impress. That type of giving is often rooted in ego, a way of saying, look how good I am at this. It's a transaction where he gives pleasure in order to receive validation. Instead, the generosity that springs from love is quiet, intuitive, and seeks no applause. It is an act of service that comes from a place of genuine care. His primary focus shifts from the question, am I getting what I need, to, are you feeling safe, cherished, and honored? Think about the subtle but significant difference in energy. A man operating from a place of ego or insecurity is on a mission. There is a goal, a finish line, and his actions are all geared toward reaching it efficiently. The experience can feel rushed, mechanical, or even demanding. He might be technically skilled, but you can feel that his focus is ultimately on his own release, his own satisfaction. Your pleasure is often a means to a part of the script he follows to get to the final scene. But when a man is deeply in love, the script is thrown away. There is no finish line, the entire journey is the destination. His pleasure becomes deeply intertwined with yours. He finds profound satisfaction not just in your physical response, but in your emotional and psychological well-being. You will notice this in his patience. He isn't in a hurry. He is exploring, learning, and listening, not just with his ears, but with his entire body. He is attentive to your comfort, your emotional state, and your sense of safety. This is because love has rewired his internal reward system. Behavioral psychology shows us that genuine connection releases hormones like oxytocin, which fosters bonding and empathy. For a man in love, causing you joy literally feels good to him on a biochemical level. It is no longer a selfless act in the traditional sense. It's an act of shared being. Your happiness nourishes him. Your sense of peace calms him. Have you ever been with someone who makes you feel that your pleasure is their priority, not as a duty, but as a genuine source of their own happiness? This is a man who is not using intimacy to take something from you, be it validation, release, or a sense of power. He is there to give. He sees your body not as an object for his gratification, but as a physical manifestation of the person he loves. Therefore, he approaches you with a sense of reverence and care. This generosity isn't confined to the physical act itself. It extends to the entire experience, the way he looks at you, the way he touches you, and the way he ensures you feel emotionally secure from beginning to. It is a holistic form of giving that says, your whole being matters to me. A man only develops this profound capacity for generosity when his own ego is no longer in the driver's seat. The safety of the love you share has quieted his insecurities, allowing the more mature, loving part of him to come forward. Finally, the fourth and most telling sign a man does in bed when he's deeply in love is that he initiates connection beyond the physical. The act itself is not the goal. It is a gateway to a deeper, more yuring form of intimacy. This is perhaps the clearest distinction between a man driven by lust or ego and one driven by love. For the former, once the physical peak is reached, the encounter is essentially over. The energy dissipates, the connection is severed, and the psychological walls go back up. The focus shifts to the next thing: sleep, a drink of water, checking a phone. There is a sense of finality, of a transaction being completed. But for a man who is in love, the physical culmination is just one part of a continuous loop of connection. What he does in the moments, hours, and even the morning after is profoundly revealing. He doesn't just roll away, he pulls you closer. He doesn't just fall asleep, he watches you, holds you, and seeks to stay in that shared space of warmth and safety. This is where the non-physical forms of intimacy truly blossom. He will talk, not just about casual, superficial things, but about your shared future, your dreams, your feelings. The physical act has opened a channel between you, and he is eager to use it to strengthen your emotional and spiritual bond. Think about it from a psychological standpoint. He is not seeking an escape from the vulnerability of the moment, but rather an immersion into it. He understands, perhaps unconsciously, that this post-intimacy state is one of heightened emotional openness for both of you. It's a precious, quiet window of time where guards are down and true connection can be fortified. He instinctively protects this space. He will whisper things he might not say in the bright light of day. He will affirm his feelings for you, not with grand, rehearsed declarations, but with simple, heartfelt words that land with the weight of truth. He might ask you about your own feelings, not as an interrogation, but as a genuine inquiry into your inner world. He wants to know how you are, not just physically, but emotionally. Have you ever experienced that beautiful, sleepy conversation that happens in the dark after everything is quiet? That is not an accident. That is a conscious, or at least deeply instinctual, act of love. He is weaving the physical experience into the larger tapestry of your relationship. He is communicating, this wasn't just about our bodies, it was about us. This behavior demonstrates a mature understanding of love. It shows he values emotional intimacy as much as, if not more than, physical intimacy. He sees the bedroom not as a playground, but as a home base, a place to recharge your bond, to reaffirm your commitment, and to build a shared sense of peace and security. A man who consistently turns a physical moment into an emotional sanctuary is a man who is not just in love with your body. He is in love with your soul. He is building a future with you, one quiet, connected moment at a time. Underpinning all four of these behaviors is a single, powerful psychological shift: the move from a me-centered consciousness to a we-centered one. This is one of the most significant transformations a person can undergo in their emotional development. For much of our lives, especially in our younger, more formative years, our primary operating system is ego-driven. We are concerned with our own needs, our own survival, and our own validation. Our relationships, even intimate ones, can often be viewed through this lens. What am I getting out of this? Does this person make me look good? Do they meet my needs? This isn't necessarily a sign of a bad person. It's a natural stage of psychological development, focused on establishing a sense of self. However, when a man falls deeply in love, the boundaries of his ego begin to soften. Your well-being becomes inextricably linked with his own. This isn't a codependent merging where he loses himself. Rather, it's an expansion of his sense of self to include you. Your joys become his joys, and your pain becomes his pain. This psychological expansion is what makes his presence so complete, his vulnerability so possible, his generosity so natural, and his desire for connection so strong. He is no longer acting solely as an individual trying to get his needs met. He is acting as one half of a bonded pair, instinctively working to nurture the health of the entire system. You can feel this shift in the very fabric of your interactions. A man operating from me consciousness is constantly, if subtly, calculating. His actions are conditional. He gives in order to get. He is vulnerable only to the extent that it serves a purpose for him. A man operating from we consciousness, however, acts from a place of inherent security. He is not afraid of losing something by giving to you because he sees your gain as his own. He is not afraid of being vulnerable because he feels that your bond is strong enough to hold his imperfections. He is not just trying to create a good moment for himself. He is trying to build a safe and loving world for the two of you. This transition is a hallmark of emotional maturity. It reflects a man who has done the internal work, consciously or not, to move beyond his own insecurities. He has realized that true strength isn't found in impenetrable armor, but in the courage to connect. He has learned that real fulfillment doesn't come from taking, but from the mutual exchange of care and support. Have you ever felt that shift in a relationship? That moment when you realize the person you're with is genuinely on your team, that your success and happiness are as important to them as their own? This is the psychological bedrock upon which true, lasting love is built. In the bedroom, this we consciousness is amplified. It is the silent, invisible force that transforms a simple physical act into a profound expression of union, a sacred ritual that reaffirms the deep and abiding truth that you are in this together. It is crucial to understand that these behaviors are not a checklist for you to measure a man against. They are not a test he must pass to prove his love. Rather, they are a mirror, reflecting both his inner state and the nature of the emotional environment you create together. A man cannot offer this level of presence, vulnerability, and generosity if the space itself does not feel safe. This is where the principle of shared responsibility comes into play. Love, in its deepest form, is not a one-way street. It is a co-created reality. His ability to take off his armor is directly related to his trust that you will not use his vulnerability against him. Think about the subtle ways this safety is built or eroded. Does he feel that he can be imperfect around you without being judged? Can he express a wrong thought or a silly fear without being corrected or ridiculed? The sanctuary of the bedroom is not just built with soft pillows and dim lighting. It is built with consistent acts of acceptance, non-judgment, and emotional reciprocity. When you listen to his quiet confessions without trying to fix him, you are reinforcing that safety. When you share your own vulnerabilities in return, you are demonstrating that this is a space of equals. You are showing him that the armor is not needed here. This is why observing these four behaviors is as much an exercise in self-awareness as it is in understanding him. If you find these qualities are absent, the first question isn't, why isn't he doing these things? But rather, what is the emotional climate of our connection? Is there a subtle power dynamic at play? Are there unspoken resentments or unresolved conflicts that create a chill in the air? Often, a man's emotional retreat in the bedroom is a symptom of a larger relational issue that has gone unaddressed. He may not even be consciously aware of why he is holding back. The unconscious mind is brilliant at self-protection. If it senses danger, the danger of being shamed, misunderstood, or rejected, it will automatically put the armor back on. Therefore, your role in this dynamic is not passive. You are an active participant in creating the conditions for deep love to flourish. Your own presence, your own willingness to be vulnerable, and your own generosity of spirit are the soil in which his love can grow and express itself fully. This isn't about blaming yourself if a connection feels shallow. It's about empowering yourself by recognizing that you have immense influence over the emotional tone of your relationship. By focusing on cultivating a space of radical acceptance and mutual respect, you are not just hoping he will show up in a loving way. You are actively inviting the best, most authentic part of him to come forward. And in doing so, you invite the same from yourself. True intimacy is a dance, and it requires two willing partners, both committed to creating a space where it is safe to be truly, completely, and unapologetically human. This leads us to a deeper, more philosophical understanding of what is truly happening in these moments. From a Stoic perspective, love challenges a man to practice one of the philosophy's core tenets, focusing only on what is within his control. In the outside world, a man might try to control his reputation, his career trajectory, or the opinions of others. This often leads to a great deal of anxiety and frustration because these things are ultimately external and unpredictable. The bedroom, when infused with love, becomes a training ground for a more enlightened way of being. A man in love intuitively realizes that he cannot control your feelings or your responses. He cannot force you to feel pleasure or to feel connected to him. Any attempt to do so would be an act of ego, a performance designed to produce a specific result. This approach is fragile and anxiety-provoking because it is dependent on an outcome he cannot guarantee. Instead, deep love guides him to shift his focus inward. The only things he can truly control are his own actions, his own intentions, and the quality of his own presence. His goal is no longer to make you feel a certain way, but to embody the qualities of a loving partner. He focuses on being present, on being gentle, on being generous, and on being emotionally available. He detaches his own sense of worth from the outcome and attaches it to the integrity of his own actions. This is a profound mental shift. He is no longer asking, "Did I succeed?" but rather, "Did I love well?" This releases both of you from the pressure to perform. It creates a space of freedom where genuine emotion and connection can arise naturally without being forced. You can feel this absence of pressure. It feels like ease. It feels like acceptance. You're not being managed or directed toward a predetermined goal. You're simply being invited into a shared experience with no expectation other than to be yourself. Have you ever felt that liberating sense of being with someone who isn't trying to get anything from you, but is simply enjoying the process of being with you? This stoic approach to love builds incredible emotional resilience in a man and in the relationship. When his self-esteem is not tied to a specific performance or outcome, he is less likely to become defensive or frustrated if a moment of intimacy isn't perfect. He doesn't see a lack of response as a personal failure, but simply as a part of the natural, unpredictable flow of human connection. He can remain present and loving, regardless of the circumstances. This creates a powerful sense of stability and security. You know that his love and care are not conditional on your ability to respond in a certain way. He is there for the connection itself, not for the validation it might bring him. This is the mark of a man who is not just loving, but wise. He has learned, in this most intimate of spaces, to find peace not in controlling the world around him, but in mastering the world within him. Ultimately, these four behaviors converge to reveal a man's capacity for what modern psychology might call secure attachment. Attachment theory, originally developed to understand the bond between infants and caregivers, offers a powerful lens through which to view adult romantic relationships. A person with a secure attachment style is comfortable with intimacy and interdependence. They are not afraid of getting close to others, nor are they paranoid about being abandoned. They have a healthy balance of autonomy and connection, built upon a foundational belief that they are worthy of love and that others can be trusted to provide it. A man who demonstrates presence, vulnerability, generosity, and a desire for connection is exhibiting all the hallmarks of a secure attachment style in action. His complete presence shows that he is not anxious or avoidant. He is comfortable and grounded in the moment. His vulnerability shows that he is not afraid of being abandoned for his imperfections. He trusts that the bond is strong enough to hold his whole self. His generosity shows that he is not operating from a place of scarcity or neediness, but from a place of emotional abundance. And his initiation of connection beyond the physical act shows that he seeks true, interdependent intimacy, not just fleeting contact. Why is this so important? Because his behavior in the bedroom is a microcosm of how he will likely behave in the relationship as a whole. A man who is emotionally present and attuned during intimacy will likely be an attentive and engaged partner in daily life. A man who is brave enough to be vulnerable in your most private moments will likely be honest and open when facing life's challenges together. A man whose generosity is a core part of his expression of love will likely be a supportive and giving partner in all aspects of your shared life. The bedroom doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is a reflection of the deepest, most fundamental patterns of a person's way of relating to the world and to others. So, when you experience these things, what you are truly witnessing is not just a man in love. You are witnessing a man who has a healthy, integrated psyche. He has likely done the difficult work of facing his own fears, healing his own wounds, and developing a stable sense of self-worth that does not depend on external validation. He is able to love you freely and fully because he has first learned to accept and love himself. This is the ultimate foundation for a healthy, thriving relationship. It moves beyond the fleeting excitement of romance and into the enduring strength of a true partnership. You are not just with a man who desires you. You are with a man who is capable of building a secure, stable, and loving future with you. because he has already built that security within himself. This is the quiet, profound gift that lies beneath it all. The peace of being loved by someone who is at peace with himself. Love is the act of becoming a safe harbor for the one you cherish.